is Benjamin. Today I am going to be doing something a tiny bit different. I'm gonna normally when I do tactic puzzles, I have a certain format or way that I do it. This time I'm just simply going to be doing um, simple right here, simple tactics. The simple tactics. When I checked it out, I didn't realize when I started it what it actually was going to be like. Um, I just wanted to take it easy. I was just thinking, I was kind of tired and I wanted to. I didn't like the sound of simple. I felt like I wanted to learn more. So it's kind of just. I'm sorry, I got a little confused there. But basically after I checked it out, I realized that it was basically end games. It was basically simple end games, and these end games are very practical. A lot of them are pretty much stuff that you would see in games. So let's get started. Let's see here. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this. All right. For black to move, let's see here. Well, the first thing I notice is that I can capture the rook. That's the first thing I notice. After I capture the rook, most likely it's going to be able to capture the pawn. And the idea is basically to count squares, see who can make it there fastest. Now, obviously, this pawn's advanced already, and this one isn't. So it looks like this one may advance sooner, but it only can move one move, and this one can do two. So it looks kind of even, but this pawn's blocking. So eventually, you're going to have to take this here, and then after that, come down. And so therefore, taking the rook and marching the pawn up is the way to win here. So you had to take that because if he came down, it would have been captured. All right. That's the second one. Let's see here. Black to move. Now, I can call it check and take the pawn, but I'm thinking that it might be a little bit more than something like that. Excuse me. There's another idea. This is a check, and it's attacking the king and screwing the queen. So basically, yeah. So the king would have to move the way, and then winning the queen. That's pretty much. It's. I think I'm not sure if that's called a screwer or an X-ray. I know they're both different things, but I usually get them confused. Would that be an easy way to win after that? All right. Black to move. Well, this makes a queen immediately, and white can't do anything about it. It can try to come down maybe. Um, he's getting ready to queen himself. So see if any way to stop it or basically take care of that. Now I'd have to call check here. You can't after going down making a queen and he comes here. But this won't be. Never mind. It's not a check. I'm sorry. After I make a queen and he comes down, I can't call it check this way to attack it because the bishop. The bishop is taking care of that. So I think of a way to pretty much stop him from making a queen and not losing mine in the process. Good morning. It's actually a little difficult to actually. I say they're simple end games, and stuff like this is really important to learn. Um, Basically, when you play your games, if you have 2 minutes on the clock, you might not have time to figure this stuff out. So, doing these type of puzzles, if you understand them and certain things, if you remember it when you play your game, you can just do it and win. And that's pretty much what the point of a lot of these are. So let's say I make a queen and he comes down one. The idea after that would be, oh, bishop to h2. Well, it's some black to move, so I got to make a queen. But if it was white to move, bishop h2 would definitely be the way to win. So we'll go ahead and make the move. Oh, okay. That's basically it. I always thought they were going to have a little bit more to it, so I was trying to figure it out. In a real game, there would be more. Okay, so he's going down to promote this way. So you have a tactic here. Yeah, it's okay. I've gotten confused by it. It tells you right here in the corner right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it's basically in this area. It says black to move. Here's a tactic. This is basically a double attack. When you do these tactics, you should also looking at both offense and defensive. So basically, white made a mistake by making these two on the same. I think it's called a rank. Yeah, rank. Yeah, these are files, and these are ranks. So basically, put on the same rank, and obviously you can take it with the rook. And when you look at both offense and defensive, like when you play yourself, you don't want to do this because of it. And if you see someone do it, you obviously want to take advantage. So basically, it's check, take the bishop, take the pawn. Or queen after he promotes. Black to move. So here, I would assume is taking, and after he takes back, not to count to see who makes it first. That'd be 1, 2, 3, and then this right here comes with check. Because after he captures back, this is the square he'll be on. And after check, I'm not entirely sure how to win from there. I think it's possible to block the king. Yeah, it's possible to block it off and then march your king in. So I think that's pretty much it. Or he can do that. It doesn't make a difference. And the reason why I didn't make a difference because he used a move to turn her over. So that's perfectly fine. And if you guys want harder ones, let me know. I'm going to try to do these for a little bit. And if you want ones that are a little harder, I can try to up it a little bit. So here you have 3 pawns and 3 pawns. So before moving, it's good to figure out like how to win. Otherwise, you're going to make moves hoping to win, and then it's basically luck. So you don't want to do that. You want to win. If you can win, you want to win. You don't want to just mess that up. So basically, if I want to make this pawn into a queen. That's my first idea. So I'm going to move my king up, and he's going to move over. After this one right here, I can do a harder one. But I want to do a thought process first of this one, and then get to the harder ones. But pretty much, you want to make sure you're going to win this. You don't want to go by luck and just make moves and hope. So basically, you have to pretty much count in your head. And after you take, and he takes, that's 1. You'd have to take 2. And now you're here. You're back in this area. His pawn is not going to make it in time. So basically, you have to look for defense. Can he come in and stop it? And the answer is no. So basically, you can just go ahead and capture and win. If the answer was yes, you'd have to figure out a way around it. But that's basically knowing how to do this in your games is pretty much going to help prevent you from hoping to win. So we want to do a little harder ones. Let's do 0 to 2000. That way we get a good mixture of difficult ones and easy ones. And then after that, I might get into up to 3000 maybe. All right, wait, simple. Now the king can't go here, the white king, and he can't go here. So basically, I don't think it's a king move. So it might be a pawn move. I'm not sure which one it is first. But let's pretend I go to f5. Let's say f5. and he were to take, I can move my king up, and then I can take. Sorry about that. Then I can take the pawn. His king will move over. I would take the pawn. He would take this pawn, and I would be able to stop him from capturing this pawn. He'd have to move away, and he can't do anything. So that would be an easy win. So I believe f5 is a win. But after calculating that, you can't just move, because I found a way to win with this. But what if he plays g5 instead? Well, then I capture. He would capture back. And I would have to figure out, would this pawn be able to make it, which means, and the king won't be able to catch it. So yes. So basically, if he takes, it's fine. And if he pushes down, I can take, he take back, and now promote. So either which way, it looks fine. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead with that. And after you capture, you just basically move up the board and win. All right, so black to move. All right, because we're up here, not down here, we pretty much are going to win, basically, because it's not a stalemate. If it's the other way around, it would have stalemate. But basically, you just take the pawn, obviously, move out the way, and bring the pawn up. He won't be able to make it in time because he can't. Your king is blocking his king from moving, anyways, from getting closer. So now, because he did this, he's trying to stalemate. So moving the king over and then letting the pawn come in. He's trying to stalemate. What I mean by that is if I go up, he can just, try to block out everything, or even come down this way to try to stop you from moving around. So it's important to move to b2, leaving a way for the pawn. Otherwise, if you try to block your king in, that would be a stalemate. All right, and after these, if you guys want to do actual checkmates, I can do a couple, like actual, in the puzzle thing. I can do more, but I want to do a little simple endgame stuff first for a little bit because you're kind of important to understand. Black to move. Now, if I were to take and he take back, his pawn is looking really really close, and I'm not entirely sure if it'll be a stalemate or not. So I'm gonna take back. I'm gonna move the king over. He can move the king over. His pawn will come down, and he's definitely gonna queen. So take that aside. Yeah, that's not good because he will be a queen, but it's not a check, and he'll call queen with check. So it doesn't look too good. It doesn't look too good at all. I actually don't like this one very much. So I don't think it's capture. And I have to move the rook over, which I don't know exactly which square would be the best square. Me, if it was a game, I would just probably move my rook over to e7. If he would have called check, just move up and try to get my pawns going together is what I would probably do in an actual game. Capturing looks like is bad because when you will both make it, but he'll. Oh no, this is actually good. I just realized something. If I take, he takes back. I move up. And we already did the math. I make it first. This controls the diagonal, so therefore the queen would win because I'll have a queen here. When he makes his queen for check, I can just take it. And if this king's close enough for any reason to take back, I have this pawn. So it's perfectly fine. Yeah. And you definitely don't want to make a mistake like that and end up drawing a game that you can win. If I move the wrong pawn, I would have lost. It had to have been the H pawn. All right. Black to move. Now if I call check, he moves out. If I were to take it, the king were to take it, my job would be to push his pawn to make a queen. But if I push immediately, he'll block the pawn and then make a queen himself. So basically what I have to do here is call a check, move out the way, capture, capture, and play king to b2. That's the key move in this position because king of b2 prevents his king from moving in, and my pawn can become a queen very easily. So that's using opposite. This is basically using opposition, right? That's the key move, and then you can make a queen. Black to move. Now I want to come in and make a queen. I can make a queen now. He can take it. I can take it. But then this pawn, I think, would probably make it first. Yeah, this pawn's going to make it first, which means his queen is going to stop me from here. So this will be bad because he'll just take, I'll take back, and he'll make a queen first. He'll win. So that's a bad idea. So I'm guessing this will be first. And he probably would take the pawn. If he does, then I can make the queen. So pretty much he can't go here because of this pawn. So the idea is to push this pawn instead. So I can't push this pawn because he'll take it. This pawn I can't push because he can call it check at some point and block this off, or even, I don't know, he can even come in and, I don't know. He won't be able to, actually, never, I'm sorry about that. If I move this pawn up, it's not really, it's going to be no longer protecting the square, and he could eventually call a check to take the pawn here if he has to. And right now he's blocking this one. So the only way to win is to push this pawn. And he can't call a check to take the queen because the pawn's right there. So that was a simple one. All right. And if you guys want me to do actual more pieces on the board, checkmates, that's fine. But I think these are very important to learn how to do. These are very, very important to learn how to do. Because these happen in real games. And if you don't understand the process and thinking about it, like you'd have to get lucky to win pretty much. And you don't want to get lucky to win. You want to win because you've learned enough chess to know how to win in these situations. Black to move. Now, I obviously can make a queen. And when I make it, because of the diagonal, it will make it in check. He can move down. See, this was a little tricky because I don't feel like just because I make a queen first, I'm going to win. Because once I call queen, it'll be check. He can move down, and he's protecting his pawn, right? And even if I come over here to attack the pawn, he can move the king down one more square. And then after that, I'd have to find a way to come in to take this pawn because he's going to make a queen. I'll take, he takes, I'll come in. Now I'm going to try to attack this pawn, but then he can start moving this pawn. So it's like if I take it and he comes down, I'd have to like chase it, and I make it in time. But even though I make it in time, his king can come up, and I take it, and his king can basically just, I don't know. Would he? Actually, he wouldn't be able to make it. Yeah, I do have time for that. Okay. I wasn't sure. It didn't look like it at first to me, but I have time. And I wish let me finish that. That was yeah, I had time for it. Black to move. Check, take the bishop. That's pretty simple. And after I take the bishop, take the pawn, and then this pawn will make it easy. Yeah, because he'll take it back, and then you can just run up the board. Wait to move. I probably would want to do this but I don't know if it will work out well. Let's say I move, and I take, he takes, I move up. Yeah, I move. I get my queen way sooner than he does, so it's perfectly fine. All right. So I'm going to get out of here, but this is simple checkmates. These are simple checkmates, simple endgames. These are actually really, really important to learn how to do, because these are very, very, oh, back to move, that would be mate, back rank mate. But these are very, very common. The in chess.com, the puzzles, the custom, if you go to simple, these are like very, very common ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the rating range to 1500 to 3000. I wanted to give you guys like some idea of like how to go about it and so forth. And now that I did it for a little while, I want to make it more difficult and see like how to go about it. Now back to move. Um, if I capture, he can go down, but I can capture that too, I guess. If I capture, he can capture back, and then he can just push us forward. So I have to move up, kind of bad. If he moves up, I take, he goes down. If I take, so it looks like I'm gonna lose this, to be honest. Like if I was playing a game, I would think I'm lost. But it's a puzzle, so I know I'm pretty good. So how do I win this? If I take and he takes back, oh, move my king over. I'm gonna capture this pawn. If he takes, I can take this pawn and then come back. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to move my king. I have to lead the defense of this pawn to win. Otherwise, I would just lose. So I'm gonna go ahead and. Well, that's not good. Was I supposed to come here first? But I don't like. I wanted to take it before he came down. So, oh, it didn't let me look at the Okay, more. Yeah, that's what I wanted to stop because I felt like if I take, if I take, yeah. So I knew that much. Am I supposed to move the pawn up and make my pawn first? Yeah, I guess I can make a pawn first. I guess. I thought I was supposed to stop him from making the queen and come up. So, all right, wait to move. Do that, do that, do that. Now, if my king here, his king is blocked in, and that'll be mate very soon. If he tries to block it with the rook, I'm supposed to take it with the king. Because if I take it with the pawn, that'll be a stalemate. So I have to take it with the king, allowing him to come up. So all right, now if I take here now, that'll be a stalemate as well. So I definitely don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that. If I go here, I'll be renewing the threat of checkmate. This is the only move to renew the threat. And then if he tries to call check, I can actually move back. And then if he takes it, I would have to take with my king. If I take with my pawn, it'll be stalemate. So he has some stalemate tricks. But yeah, here, if I take with my pawn, that'll be stalemate. So I take my king, forcing him to come over to the corner. All right. Black to move. He can come down. So that's not very good. So let's say I move and he comes down, and I move, and the bishop is right here, he's having both of them blocked off. So it's kind of like, how do I go about this? Well, I can call it check, but I can take with the bishop. And then, yeah, so that's not very good. Doesn't seem like, excuse me, if I go here first, you also can just go like this. Yeah, I don't like this at all, to be honest. Oh, the knight can block. So, like, if I move this pawn up and he moves the rook over, my knight can block. And then I'll be threatening mate. I'll be threatening to make a queen. So I think that's it. Well, that works too. Now, because the blocking part, I think I need to do this first. So if he tries to call it check, I can block it and then make a queen. And then he'll, this looks fine. Okay. They want me to threaten the rook. I guess that's a little better, but it still makes a queen either way. They just have an extra piece. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing regular endgames. I guess it's not that exciting, but when you play chess, you're involved with that stuff all the time, and you're just gonna get lucky if you don't learn them. So if you actually really want to get good, you have to do them. You have to. I know a lot of people left, which kind of sucks a little bit, but I'll get into regular checkmate stuff that a lot of people like. But just so you know, if you really want to get good, you have to actually really understand and learn those. Like I made a few mistakes, and if I'm playing a chess game and I make a mistake that makes me lose and I'm winning, that sucks. That's kind of like, wow, I wish I knew that, or wow, that's really simple, and exactly that's what it is. It is very simple. So it's really important to learn those. It really is. You can't comment. Yeah, it's really simple, but we can do some more stuff. Advanced checkmates, attacking castle king, back rank, which is usually mates, basic checkmates. We can do some checkmate stuff. Endgame tactics looks interesting. Fast checkmate. Endgame tactics sound a bit interesting. Mate in 1, mate in 2, mate in 3 plus, mating nets. And I'll even add simple stuff in here too. And we'll do from 0 to 1500 to start. And then I can maybe do a little more difficult. A little more difficult as time goes on. All right. So black to move. Well, the first thing I notice is this check right here. That's the first thing I notice is a very common check. And the pawns are going this way. So the king would have nowhere to go. The king can't go here because the bishop. The bishop is covered. The rook has this covered. The rook has this covered. The pawn has this covered. So that's checkmate. So this is just checkmate in 1. All right, black to move. He's threatening to make a queen here. Oh, YouTube glitch. Well, maybe that's what happened because a lot of people, like, there was a lot of people on, and then a lot of people left, and I was doing the endgame stuff, and I wasn't sure. Oh, that is, I don't know why. That is really weird. Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, I can't take this right here because he can take back. I mean, Maybe I can do that actually, and then make this into a queen. Bam. Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. I actually can make it into a queen. I mean, he can't make it into a queen. So, all right. So now, if he takes, he won't be able to catch me. But if I move up and he comes up, this is blocking him off. I have to move my king in. So, okay, that works too. I thought it was gonna make it more difficult on me. I thought he was gonna go in front of the pawn. Yeah. I'm glad you can message now. I don't know what was going on with YouTube. This here is a back rank mate. Back rank mate is when there's pawns in front of the king or pieces, and you can call it check, which usually leads to checkmate. That's why a lot of times you see players at advanced level move one of these pawns, but then they tell you not to do it as a beginner. Pretty much it's good to know when to do it, but if you never do it, you can end up in this situation here, and so can your opponent. So back rank checkmate. White to move. Well, I'm in check, so I got to take care of that first before I do anything else. Now I want to take it, but he also can just take the bishop. I can take the bishop. I mean, if I take and he takes the bishop, I can call check and take his rook. So this is actually a free pawn. So I think I'd rather take the pawn. Well, what if he comes on here and calls check, but I could take it with the rook? This is weird because everything I'm looking at, it looks like winning to me. It looks like this is winning to me and this is winning to me. So basically, in a puzzle, you have to find out what's best or what's better and why. And oh, well, if I take it with my king, he can call check and take my pawn. So this is better. Yeah. Now he doesn't do it with check, and I can take here. But is that the answer though? Because I think this is a draw, theoretical draw, I believe, isn't it? Oh no, I have a bishop too. A rook versus bishop is a draw. Rook bishop versus bishop isn't. Yeah, the end games. That's why I wanted to do the end game stuff because they're very close to it. That's why I wanted to cherry pick the tactics. They have so much stuff here, and um, yeah, the ones that usually don't look like games are the ones that are like 3+ and mating nets are hard to do, but yeah, these look like actual games, and the reason why is because it's a lot of end game stuff, and they probably actually got it from actual end games. And I have it at a lower rating thing. When you put in a higher rated, that's like it doesn't happen very often. Okay. So let's see here. If I call check here, the king will move over, and that'll be mate. So that's checkmate in two. All right. I'm black to move. So here, pretty much, check. The king can't escape this way because the queen has a diagonal. So if I call it check, he only has one square to move, and the knight can come in and call check, and that's also mate. So that's mate in two. It's a really pretty interesting checkmate. So that's check, and he has no squares because the queen has everything covered. And this is mate. His pawn is blocking him out. So that was really interesting. Now, if I call it check this way, the king can't go here because of the pawn. So basically, after I call it check, the king has a take. The queen can call it check, but protected by the pawn. And the king actually has nowhere to go. That's actually checkmate. That's a really interesting checkmate as well. Checkmate in two. Wait to move. Wait to move. I want to just make a queen. That's like my first instinct. Like I just want to make a queen. If I move up, he can take. Move up, he can take. I can make a queen. Check. Move over. So it's fine. And if he comes over, I can just push it anyways. So I think that's it. Yeah. It didn't matter what he did. Black to move. Black to move. Looks like a mate in one. Protected by the bishop. All right. So now I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna try to do more difficult ones. All right, black to move. All right. If I just move up, he obviously takes it. So I have to move up first. And my job will be to make a pawn queen before him. My pawn's closer, so I can make it first. My job though is to make sure his king can never get in front of the pawn. If his king can get in front of the pawn, it's game over. So my job is to block it off and then move and block it off and move and block it off and I make a queen. Yeah. Just constantly make sure his king cannot get in front of the pawn. And that's checkmate. That would be making a queen first. Well, I would like to go here, but I can't because the rook. The only other check available to me is over here. That's a check. The king can't move here because of the knight, which means if I call it check, he has to come up. I can call it check with the pawn after that, but he can take it. And my queen can't come over here, and that will be mate. So that will be check, check, and then mate. So. All right. After you move the knight anywheres, this bishop would be out here. And that'll be mate. If I can bring if this knight wasn't here, I would just be able to call checkmate in one. So because of that, I had to move the knight out the way. And when you're in these situations, the best thing to do is to move it in a way that attacks like an important piece. So right now, I can move my knight and attack the queen. Now, after I move my knight, before deciding which one to go to, like, can he defend? Well, he can move his bishop right here. And then after he moves his bishop, if I take it, he can just take it with his queen. So now, if I move my knight somewheres and he moves his bishop over, I guess I would have to take the queen first. And then if he takes it back, yeah. So pretty much I got to figure out what is better. And I know he can try to stop it, but I got to figure out which is better and why. And that's super important because, like, when you do puzzles, if you think you found the answer and you just make your move, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. And what happens is that you feel good when you get it right, and then you feel bad when you get it wrong. But you're not learning if you do that. You have to figure it out because when you play your games, You don't want to make a move and hope that you got the right move and your opponent doesn't play properly. Like that's not going to help you get a better rating. Like you have to make sure you understand what you're doing the best that you can. Um, and the way I look at puzzles is basically is practice for games because when you're playing games, you might, like I said before, you might have 2 minutes left on the clock. So, like, if you already understand or learn the pattern through puzzles, then like, oh, I know this one, bam, you know, you might not have enough time to think about your actual moves every time. So, like, it's important to memorize lots of stuff. And in here, I honestly did not know which one is better. I really do not because once I move my knight, I know he's gonna block me with the bishop. And I feel like I should just take the queen. But he can call it check. Let's say I move my knight, he blocks, I take, and he calls check. Well, I mean, I guess I can take the knight here. Yeah, so it's fine, but I don't know which one's better. The only difference I see is I win a pawn here. So for that reason, I think that will be it. Okay. I see solution. That was the weirdest thing ever. I never thought of sacrificing the queen to make checkmate. I thought I had to win the queen. So I would have probably won the queen, but yeah, I'm not feeling too bad. That's a rating 2900 puzzle. So let me go back to the puzzle. So here he takes. This is a double check, forcing him to make a decision. This is blocked off. This is blocked off. He has to go back. It's mate. So pretty much, I never thought about this. With the bishop here and the knight here will be mate. I never thought about that. Like in a game, like it's actually pretty neat. In a game, it would probably more realistically to have a knight here and drop him over here than here, because this is like a really weird tactic. So, but I could definitely, yeah. I never check. I don't think I've checkmated someone like that before. I like it. I like that. Okay, so we'll go next one if it lets me. All right. Knight to g4 after bishop takes turns. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking some stuff along those lines too. It was difficult. I did like the puzzle though, because I think I learned something new with that one, especially with the idea of the knight being here. Like that was really interesting. I don't think I've checkmated someone like that before. All right. So here we have the bishop. I feel like if I call it check, the king has to take. He can't move away. And this is a check. And the bishop at that point would be stopping the pawn from taking it. So that would be the king move back and that would be mate. So you're sacrificing the rook for checkmate. Black to move. Like I would just want to go here and here for me. That's pretty much what I want to do, and I think that's the answer. This seems very straightforward. Well, I can just take it. I have to take it first. That's a very simple. Well, I thought it was very simple mate. Black to move. Here you can just walk the knights down. I believe that's considered a ladder mate. Where you go check, the king has to move somewhere. Check, the king has to move. Check. The king has to move, and then mate. I believe this is called ladder mate. So these are like those things to me are usually really simple. This is mate in one. I don't know why that's a 1500 plus puzzle. Black to move. Taking obviously, but after I take it, now I gotta figure out how to make a queen. So if I move and he moves and I take, my king would have to opposition. It doesn't matter which direction he goes. If he goes left, I go right. If he goes right, I go left. And then I push the pawn up and win. So this is actually a super important endgame to understand. Like you're gonna have lots of positions like these. And this move right here is like critical. If I make any move but this move, it'll be a draw. Like I have to move here and then get opposition. Like that is super important. Like you have to learn. Like if you don't know the pawn king end games in that way, you have to learn them. I actually stopped playing my wing gambit variation. Sadly, I started playing the Alpine, because it has good traps in it. But I actually considered going back to my wing gambit recently. I was considering because I learned so much from 2 years ago. I'm wondering if I can make it better than what I had it. The wing gambit variation. I mean, you start with a plus zero point 0.5 advantage in the opening, but then those lines become equal. They're like 0.00. So it's like they're not bad openings, but you lose a pawn for a positional advantage, and if you don't find a way to attack, then that's pretty much it. So, yeah. All right. Well, I hope this was good for you guys. I was trying to do like a pretty good endgame study for you guys and talk a little bit about the moves and so forth. I'm glad I learned two different things. So I'm gonna have to go back and try to remember those two things that I learned to help advance myself. And hopefully you guys learned a few things. Even if you learn two or three things in one day, you don't have to go back and be like, he did 34 puzzles. I need to remember all these puzzles today. You're not, it's just gonna be overwhelming. Just like if you learn simple things like the king opposition thing or a certain move thing, just one or just even two or three things. The idea is that you learn something, and then after that, try to remember it, and then the next day learn two, three more things. Next day, learn two, three more things. And if you do that, by the end of the month, you would have learned 60 to 90 different things. So, and that's a lot. That's a lot. So that's just like a nice slow progress is actually pretty good. No reason to overwhelm yourself, you know. But I gotta get going though. It's 8:40 so here, so it's been a little over an hour. Thanks for watching. Hope you like, subscribe, and share. And for anyone who wants to donate, I have it in the link in YouTube. I greatly would appreciate anything. And if you can, just share it to someone else. All right. Um, and if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine too. It's just perfectly free. All right. Thank you guys. Yeah, the queen stack was crazy. I that was crazy. Yeah, you're welcome.